Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm making a video I never wanted to make. Eddie Van Halen has passed away. Anybody who's watched my channel for very long knows that Eddie was truly my favorite musician of all time. Van Halen was my favorite band. You know, for me, this loss is, this is the worst. This is the worst one that I'll ever have to endure. Paul McCartney's going to be a close second. I love Paul McCartney. But Eddie Van Halen was my favorite musician ever. I've loved Van Halen since I was 11 years old. And this is going to be a really hard video to do, but I felt like I had to do it. It's just something I needed to get out of me. I've seen other beautiful tributes done. Ralph from Almost Human and The Flip Side, they did beautiful jobs on their videos, and I just really felt like since he's my very favorite, this is rock bottom for me. It will never be a harder loss for me when it comes to music. Eddie just meant so much to me. And I wrote some notes down because I didn't want to forget anything. I'm very emotional. These last few days have been very emotional. I wanted to make my title of my video, and I don't know what it's going to end up being, but at first I thought I want it to be Van Halen is over and I'm devastated. But I don't think it's fair for me to use the word devastated. His son is devastated. His wife's devastated. Alex Van Halen and his bandmates are devastated. But I'm a fan, you know. I think devastated should be reserved maybe for his friends and family. But I can't lie, this hurts, and it hurts really, really badly. So, you know, like I said, I have loved Van Halen since I was 11 years old. And I'm going to get into how I discovered Van Halen and how I grew to love them so much. Because here at the end of this video, you guys, you will not believe the Van Halen Grail for me that I found just a few days before he passed away. It's just brings everything full circle. It's an amazing find, and I can't wait to tell you about it. You know, I was going to show it to you in a video with a smile on my face and an excitement in my heart, but it's a little different today, isn't it? It's just a little, it's going to be harder to talk about. But I want to go ahead, if you all will indulge me, let me just talk a little bit about Eddie Van Halen and what he meant to me. You know, we all know he was a great guitar player. He was. And I'm not a guitar player, so I can't get into the weeds of his abilities. I just know that when I heard him for the first time, it was something different. I was 11 years old. It was something very exciting, and he just stood out to me. The whole band did. So let me just get started. You know, I fell in love with Van Halen, and I fell in love with Eddie Van Halen in particular. But it wasn't what I would call a crush. I didn't love him in the way you fall for, like, and nothing, no disrespect, I mean, to Leif Garrett or Scott Baio or any of those heartthrob type people that I did have little crushes on here and there. You know, obviously if it was a crush, it wouldn't have lasted this long. It wasn't about his looks. It was about the way he played his guitar and the music. It touched my heart. And I'm a shy, more reserved person in real life. Believe it or not, when I make these videos, you know, it's kind of difficult for me because I'm not used to being the one in the spotlight. I'm very happy to let others shine. And I feel like in a way, Eddie Van Halen was the same way. When you watch videos and you see pictures, David Lee Roth, who in my opinion is the best frontman that has ever been, just absolutely incredible. He gets all the attention. He loves all the attention. Eddie wasn't like that. Eddie was happy to let everybody shine. He was very content to stand on the side and just do what he did best, and that was play his guitar. And because of that, he got the attention anyway because the talent was just overwhelming. David Lee Roth, what an incredible frontman. You know, he always posed for the cameras. And even though David Lee Roth was the center of attention, when I would look at pictures and when I would watch videos, I was always kind of peering around to watch Eddie. Eddie captured my attention. And I don't mean that in a way of a crush. I mean that in a way of respect and love that even an 11-year-old girl could understand. Just the pure, wonderful talent that he had. I only saw him in concert 3 times. I only got to see Van Halen 3 times. And I know when so many of you all have seen your favorite band 50 times, 10 times, just way more than 3 times, right? You know, just money-wise, the age I was, I had a strict mom. You know, it just didn't work out for me to get to see them more than 3 times. But I did get to see them 5 years ago with my daughter. He was, you know, they were back together with David Lee Roth, playing all of the classics. And I mean, you want to talk about a great list of songs. The track list for that was incredible. I had the time of my life with my daughter. And what was so interesting is while I was having the time of my life with my daughter, I could see Eddie on stage and the way he looked at his son and the way they interacted with each other. He was having the time of his life with his son as well. And you know, anything you want to say about Eddie Van Halen, yes, he had some problems in life. We all do. But I can measure a man by the way his son or how his child talks about him, the way they feel about him, and the way they turn out. And Wolfie, from everything I can tell, seems to be very normal for, you know, being the child of 2 major celebrities. He seems pretty cool, pretty normal. He's also very talented. So I admire the way he was raised. I also know that Wolfie loved his pops, loved him. And that says a lot about the kind of father Eddie Van Halen was. So yes, not a perfect man. He had his hang-ups like we all do, but he was a good person. It showed through. He was gentle, he was kind. It showed through even in the videos when he's, if you remember seeing the video Jump, when he's playing his keyboard, he's just got this wonderful, infectious smile on his face. You know, David Lee Roth's having a great time and he's making you laugh. And there's just a warmth and a kindness that really shines through when it comes to Eddie Van Halen. His friends and family adored him and will tell you the same thing. So that's kind of how I feel about him. I feel like he was a great guitarist, but I feel like he was a really good quality person, a loving and wonderful father. Even his ex-wife, I read an autobiography that she wrote. She really didn't even have a lot of bad things to say about him. She was with him when he passed away, and they were good friends, and they kept their relationship going for the sake of their son. So I respected him as a person and a guitarist. You know, I'm so glad here in the end that they reunited with David Lee Roth, and I got a chance to see them together. You know, it wasn't like it was in the 70s or early 80s, but it was good enough. And Eddie was fantastic. The music was incredible when we got to see him 5 years ago. And I will just say, from a standpoint, I really thought Eddie never looked better. I thought he looked fantastic. I had no idea that his cancer was terminal. I knew he had cancer and I knew he was fighting it, but I didn't know how serious it was. I don't follow those things, and I think he was keeping it pretty private anyway. So I just really, I don't know. I don't know how, it just took me by surprise because I didn't know how serious the cancer was. And I'm really not one of those people that read about personal lives either. So, you know, this took me by complete shock. And I think it did a lot of people. I think he was a private person. I don't think he wanted everybody to know how sick he truly was. So also I want to mention that I've read that Sammy and him made peace before he died, which I think is incredible. And it says a lot about Eddie too, because Sammy wrote a book. I didn't read it, but he said some really bad things and threw Eddie under the bus. I like Sammy too, but I really felt like Sammy should have kept his autobiography about Sammy and not shed secrets about Eddie. So I don't know everything. I didn't read the book, but I'm so thankful that they did make peace. I'm happy for Sammy for that. I'm happy for Eddie for that. You know, Sammy said that some text messages that they had exchanged recently were a love fest, and I'm so glad to hear that. And, you know, anyway, I want to go ahead and share now something. If you've watched my channel long enough, you know within 2 videos, Van Halen is my favorite band of all time. And Van Halen is over now. There will never be Van Halen again. Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, they were the band. I don't think there's any way Van Halen could go on without Eddie, or Alex for that matter, but especially Eddie. There's just no way. I don't think anybody would even want it to. So any hopes of any kind of reunions, any kind of concerts, it's over now, you know, and that really, on top of losing Eddie, that breaks my heart too. I would have loved to have seen them just one more time. Would have loved to have seen him with Dave one more time. Would have loved to have seen him reunited with Sammy one more time. And I know we all have different feelings about which era of Van Halen we love the most. I have my opinions. You have yours. I will probably discuss it in a future video. Now's not the time. I loved both eras for different reasons. I absolutely love David Lee Roth era. I'm not gonna lie, that's my favorite era, but man, Sammy could sing too. So anyway, I want to share with you now what I picked up a few days before Eddie died, and to be able to share this with you, I kind of have to go back. If you've watched my channel, I've told this story before. I apologize, but please hang in there with me. When I was 11 years old, I discovered Van Halen through the Dick Clark National Music Survey. My sister and I always listened to Casey Kasem on Sunday mornings, but on Sunday nights, when we had school the next day, we somehow talked my mom into letting us stay up and just have the radio on. We told her, we'll fall asleep to the radio, Mom. Just please let us listen to the Dick Clark National Music Survey. So she would let us listen to it. Of course, we wouldn't sleep. We would listen to it, you know, and it would go on into the later hours of the night, later than we should have been staying up. But Mom believed that we would probably fall asleep while listening to it, which we did not. And how I discovered Van Halen was one night laying in bed, listening to the Dick Clark National Music Survey. I heard Dick Clark announce, "This is Van Halen and the song Pretty Woman." And, you know, when I was growing up, my mom had the 45 of Roy Orbison's version of Pretty Woman, and my sister and I played it over and over and over again. So I knew the song, you know, just as well as anybody could. I knew it by heart. When I heard the Van Halen version of that and the guitar playing, they kept the melody. It sounded like Pretty Woman, and yet it was so different and raw and rock. Eddie just absolutely blazing on that guitar. David Lee Roth singing the lyrics and kind of changing a few little things just to update the song, make it a little edgier. It was incredible, and it blew me away. At 11 years old, I thought, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And I, you know, got to where I started listening to their older music. Of course, Love Diver Down. It's not my favorite, but it was the intro to Van Halen for me, so it's always going to be very sentimental. But man, I fell in love with Van Halen on the spot, immediately, no turning back. And they never disappointed me after that either. I went back, listened to their old stuff, and I knew a couple of the songs, you know, but just never really paid a lot of attention to it. My mom listened to AM radio. I didn't really get to hear Van Halen until we made the switch over to FM radio, which was more of a rock station type of feel. So once I started hearing Van Halen, I fell in love. And of course, the album 1984 sealed the deal. I knew they were my favorite band, and it never changed. You know, I've had other bands that I've truly loved, Kiss. I now am a huge fan of the Beatles, Wings, love Paul McCartney. But man, nothing has ever been like Van Halen for me. So, you know, just a few days ago, Eddie passed away. But a couple of days before that, my husband and I were in a record store in Boulder, Colorado. A few days before, I had seen some jazz records that I wanted to buy, but I talked myself out of them because I do that sometimes, and then later regret not picking them up. So I said, please, can we go back to Boulder? Can we pick up those jazz albums that I had seen in the store? I really would love to have them. So while I was looking through the jazz section, this really cool store had this separate room, and it's a digger's paradise in there. There's all kinds of old records, box sets, just you name it in that room, it's there if you know what to look for. And my husband came across something so special for me. You won't believe this. Oh, sorry. Here it is. This is a box set of the Dick Clark National Music Survey. And this was from April 24th of 1982. And I was 11 years old, and you all know what's in this box. Let me just show you the playlist here. If you look carefully, you'll see number 10, Pretty Woman by Van Halen. I found that just a few days before he passed away. This box set is what made me fall in love with Van Halen, and to find this and be able to pick it up was just unbelievable to me. And it meant a lot to me the day I found it. I was so excited, but now that Eddie's gone, you can't even imagine the treasure it is for me now. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go now. I think I've talked enough. I'll always remember Eddie Van Halen. I'll never forget him, and we will never forget him. He was an enormous talent, a good person, a loving father, and he just brought so much joy to my life. He is the soundtrack of my teenage years, and the love in my heart for Eddie Van Halen never died. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to me, and I appreciate it so much. Leave your feedback. Let me know what Eddie Van Halen meant to you. Take care. Bye-bye.